Percy Robert Miller, better known to the world as Master P. Born in New Orleans and raised in the notorious Central City Callio projects. After receiving $10,000 for a malpractice settlement, he moved to Richmond, California, where he opened a Moms and Pops record store and called it No Limit Records, which was the start of a new beginning for Percy Miller.
My father stayed in New Orleans and my mother stayed in Richmond, California, so I've been going back and forward as a youth, growing up, being able to learn both sides, and I think that's where the Master P, the whole TRU gumbo style come from, you know, because we got all different kind of flavors because we done seen both sides.
In 1990, the ribbon was cut. He released his first cassette titled Mind of a Psychopath. True was the movement and No Limit Records became the label. That same year, Kevin Miller, Master P's younger brother, was shot and killed in New Orleans.
We used to hang with the other brother, Cav. Cav was like our big dog. You know, Cav used to bring us everywhere. We go play 4-man basketball and we wouldn't lose. You know, Cav was good. You know,
Cav was he was older than C. He was right under.
Yeah,
P.
he was under P. He was older than C.
So how was he like?
Man, Cav was a fool. Man, Cav wanted to boot up. Like Cav would go anywhere you looking at.
That's P second to the oldest brother.
What happened to him? What happened to Kevin?
They say his best friend tried to rob him for some dope because Kevin was selling dope.
Cav was a gangster. You know, Cav was a gangster.
Kevin was low key. See, Kevin got killed like 2 months after I got shot up July 25th. Kevin got killed like in September.
September 26, 1990, authorities found Kevin Miller's body right off the interstate I-10. Ultimately, he was shot several times in the back and in the head.
And when he passed, my partner T had fucked him up because Cav used to take care of him. You know, P was gone already. He was in California.
So they went into the music when Cav was.
P was just getting into it. He was in Richmond somewhere. Oh, he was just starting up.
He was supposed to be on his way to California with P.
When Kevin got killed, P had enough sense to say, you know what? I have to come up with a game plan.
The loss of his brother became a major turning point for P. The music biz became the main focus. By owning his own record store, he began to see the music biz from the inside. Not just how to rap and produce music, but how to sell it as well. By following the West Coast method of Too Short and E40, P learned how to sell records out of the trunk of his car at high volumes, and how to use his record store to exaggerate his own record sales through high volume barcode scanning. And even though this is true, P still put in the necessary work by releasing several albums within a short period of time, all of which made P's movement more desirable to the majors. And it worked. He put himself in the position of next to Pop in the industry.
P didn't really have that strong of a connection to New Orleans or New Orleans artists at all because he had spent years in Oakland. KL doing his thing on the Parkway with his studio in the basement of his house. And he had all these artists.
I got some boss shit, and that's why I told you she walk with a switch, and she just might smack you if you call up.
You get turned on to No Limit. How did that happen?
I think me signing with No Limit was the result of a combination of things. KL, obviously. I used to come to the basement sometimes and, you know, spit some stuff with him.
Yeah, real hip hop. He had a real label where he had real MCs, and for you to even go in his booth, nigga, you had to do a one take. You gonna run that shit. He wanted one take.
In 1995, P decided to take his movement back to his hometown, New Orleans, where he based and operated his No Limit movement. He signed the legendary production team Beats by the Pound, who were already loaded with promising talent and a sound that could move your soul.
Swamp nigga, go get him, Mr. Killer, ice cream fella singing beans, no beans, got candy cream, third wall nigga in the motherfucking candy tree.
It was a big deal when P came around. I say that. You know, because he was the only person from our hood, from the Callio projects, that was known, like, nationwide.
With New Orleans on his back and all he needed to succeed, he set out for success.
KL, Mia, Fiend, and Cain and Abel. And my cousin Skanu, rest in peace, who rapped with the group Prime Suspects.
I'm from off the Parkway. You know, people mostly know me from No Limit with the Prime Suspects. You know, we was a group, it was 3 of us. Me, Skanu, and T. Rest in peace, New 9.
Looking for a better day. Good and bad, right or wrong, lurk in the lane. You choose your fate gracefully, save your soul if you can.
You ever heard a song called Greens, Cornbread, and Cabbage? Well, it was a song, man, that fucking beat was hitting. Moby Dick was up in there.
We got this shit sold up, nigga, hold up. From the south, to the Midwest, to the West Coast, to the East Coast.
fucking with Kane and Abel. That Kane and Abel was somebody that I had like mad respect for. They went to Xavier. That was in my hood. That's in Gertown. They were from New York. Their spit game was crucial. So I got a chance to fuck with them, you heard me?
From Gertown, you niggas act like they don't know me. I'm the same nigga that does shit back and now it's over peace. Down south hustler, motherfucker.
I was hanging around Kane and Abel for a second. They would get me to rap on different stuff. Fiend's mother stayed down the street from my grandmother's house. So Fiend was another person I was affiliated with, doing music with.
I was working with Kane and Abel. They went by Double Vision at the time. I'm doing some writing, helping with choruses. But when the twins got with Beats by the Pound and did that Gangster Fight, they got a feature, I think, from Moby and shit. It was over. We had real money in the video and shit. We was wildin', son.
When the sun sets, I'm at rest. They got bullets to penetrate through your proof vest.
I met P at their video shoot for Gangster Fight. And so that was my first time meeting him. And I think a couple weeks later, maybe, a couple months later, I had a meeting with Kevin Lyles, who was one of Russell Simmons' right hands at the time. When I left out of the meeting with Kevin Lyles, I ran into Master P on the elevator with all of the other guys, and he was like, man, we got a party upstairs, come upstairs. So it was almost like it was meant, you know what I mean? So I went on the elevator, we went upstairs, we talked. He said, man, come to the studio Thursday with KL. And I came to the studio with KL, and I never moved back home.
Operation uptown, get to niggas shell shot, camouflage down, Reebok, straight off the block.
Before Master P, rappers were only talent and were treated that way. The artist would sign a record deal and receive points from each album sold. When broken down, points equals to dollars, and everyone from the record producers, executives, features, and so on gets points off each album sold. And at that time, most artists were getting cents per album sold. But Master P took a different approach.
A couple of people I want to mention that I looked up to, you know what I'm saying? I definitely got to take my hat off to Rap A Lot Records, Lil J. You know what I'm saying? For real. I'm gonna tell y'all, without Lil J, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at. I'd probably be still in the hood hustling.
Jay Prince, a prominently known giant in the music biz and sports world, became famous in hip-hop for what is known today as the 80-20 deal. He overstood the functions of a record label from the inside and embodied it. He became the executive, hired an in-house producer, and signed his own talent, which took him out of the point system and put him into the majors as an independent. Master P followed the same blueprint and got most of the same results.
If it wasn't for No Limit, there wouldn't be no money in rap. And motherfuckers can look at me like they crazy right now, but it was no money in rap until Master P.
After the success of I'm Bout It and his setup album, The Ice Cream Man, the trail was blazed for No Limit artists to follow. Accompanied with Beats by the Pound, Master P signed an army of artists who were ready for the front line. C Murder, Mia X, Silk the Shocker, Mystical, Kane and Abel, Mac, Mr. Servon, Fiend, and later Snoop Dogg were all a part of that lineup, and they represented the No Limit tank well.
Me, Mac, Slim, that was that shit. Serve me a C, my nigga Corey Miller, dog.
They were all known for featuring on each other's album, and in 1997, the world got a taste of No Limit's Ghetto Dope, an album that featured most No Limit artists and charted #1 on Billboard's 200. The first two singles, Make 'Em Say and I Miss My Homies, gave the name Master P a household status, and every artist on the label followed suit.
Then that boy was doing Ghetto D, his album, right? Man, that let me get on like about 8 songs. I was turning in songs. It was like, bruh, what you and P a group now? I was getting flack.
P was giving X amount of dollars to feature. And it was almost like a war to rumbles. That's why all the No Limit albums sounded like compilations, because he might have gave you the ability. Here's an apartment, here's a vehicle, here's whatever the case, but you got to keep your lights on, you got to keep your phone bill paid, you got to, these shit you got to do for yourself, which is understandable if I provided everything else for you. But how you pay for it is being assertive with getting on projects. So if I pay you X amount of dollars to get on a project, so that's when you used to get No Limit albums, you're like, God, featuring.
Doing all them features and shit, like fucking with C Murder. You know what I'm saying? Fucking with Kane and Abel.
Them dudes was sitting there waiting to eat, and man, they got on that shit and ate his head off. And Mac ate that bitch.
Times is hard and shit is real. Make this meal even if I gotta rob and steal. Could you forgive me?
You know, like a Fiend wasn't gonna let you burn him. You know, he was a competitor. You know, he was gonna keep up.
So love used to my advantage, a drug scheme caused damage, got riches, now these winters they love.
I got on Ghetto D, I was on the single, on the B side of the single, I Miss My Homies, and I'm on 6-7 songs on his album on Ghetto D. I had to drop my album next. P like, you gotta drop next.
Yo, Fiend, who's got that fire? Won't you pass me that key so I get higher?
I said he was a hustling genius. I mean, he's a hustler on a major level. He kind of invented a new way of like doing the record business.
He was like the first dude I saw in the CDs. You know, he do CDs back then. He used to put the album covers in the CDs, and so that kind of became iconic. They even had CDs that never came out, but you still remember them album covers. You know, and so that shit was so hot.
Advertising within itself.
Yeah, advertising. He was a genius with that part.
Using his genius to separate himself from the rest, he packaged the CDs in different color casing with animated pictures of the good life on them, and it worked. No Limit sold millions of records.
First got there, you know, nigga broke bread for the shop and shit, got there, get up, put a nigga situated. You know, it was all, you know, the bread was broke. I don't deny that. You know what I'm saying? Bread was broke.
I remember that Silk said, man, Fiend, don't trip, dude. Don't trip, dude. You gonna be the man 100,000 in no time, dude. You heard me? I was like, why are we gonna make money like that? You heard me? All right. Look, we went and got the Camaros.
Bought like 15 fucking Camaros, paid the fucking insurance out for a year, and gave us a $5,000 check.
P bought 13 Camaros. I had the only red Camaro.
Couldn't tell us nothing. Like you young 24, shit. Brand new Camaro, 97 Camaro in 97, shit. 30 down the T-tops, bitch had like 18 miles on it. The first wave of artists all got houses. Mystical was in the country club with him. You know, he had some fire shit. Silk C, all of them had Snoop, all of them had the $1 million houses in the country club in Baton Rouge. We was in the Spring Lake subdivision, most of us. You know, like my house was 170, paid for in my name.
In the mid-90s, Master P started No Limit Films, and in 1997 he released his very first movie, titled I'm Bout It, which starred Master P, Moon Jones, Mac 10, C Murder, Mia X, and other No Limit members.
Nigga, you know how much a million is?
Nigga, you should stand on how much a million is, nigga.
Nigga, spell million.
M? Nigga, M-I-L-ion. Fuck. DJ on the ghetto block. And the end thing, trend thing, serving out the rocks. Baby, I want peace, but I know nobody.
There wasn't complete the Bout It soundtrack yet, and he was letting the artist's music get placed in the movies. So that boy P heard that song, put it in the movie while he was in the crack house with the smoke all and with the red bin. It was over, bro. It was over.
Got it, and about to put his bean on him. Only let me know I'm about to put the gasoline on him.
They shot most of the Bout It movie, like all of them scenes, they just was on the corner of what that is, Russia Blade, and they was just doing it from different angles and shit. And so, you know, P just looked up and said, man, y'all wanna get in the movie? We're like, fucking right. So we got a red truck, me and Skinu kidnapped Silk. We kidnapped him, the bitches arrived, but don't make it a murder. You know, and then we had him, you know, they chose Skinu up and killed him, Pickpocket killed him in the movie. And then, you know, they killed me in the movie too. I was watching see some Silk, and he said something about you know, my brother gonna kill you, and everybody was famous for that, like fuck you and your brother. You know, that was my little 30 seconds of fame or whatever.
4-4 chrome to the dome. Who the man did it? Once again, prime suspect, guilty to proven innocent.
When we did our shit, they was filming I Got the Hookup.
I'm Bout It did better than P thought it would, and it was obvious No Limit Films were here to stay. In 1998, just 1 year after the release of I'm Bout It, Master P released 3 new movies: I Got the Hookup, The Game of Life, and The Last Dawn. Foolish, starring Eddie Griffin, in 1999, and Lockdown and the Hot Boys in year 2000.
Everything he touched just turned to gold, you know, and so he had like a little run, and then when it, you know, as it, like G-Unit had their run, and then it was over.
There's one thing that's constant about the rise of every empire: it must fall. And No Limit Records was at the highest of its height. A shift in hip-hop took place as the infamous Cash Money Records had changed the sound of rap. Around year 2001, No Limit Records began to decline in popularity, as well as record sales, as roster changes and lawsuits caused No Limit Records to file bankruptcy on December 17, 2003.
No Limit was in flux at that time. You know, the Beats by the Pound had left. There was a lot of question marks and IRS accounts frozen, You know, all these different things going on, and bankruptcies, and a lot of things was in flux.
In 1998, Master P signed to Magnolia Project native Soulja Slim and released his debut album, Give It To Him Raw. The lead single, From What I Was Told, blew up and made No Limit Records money out that was sad, but was short-lived as the gangster turned rapper was sentenced to 3 years in jail for armed robbery.
So when he got out, rather than being released, being a No Limit artist and being released on No Limit, he and Crazy were kind of being used as tools to relaunch the label with a new brand. And they couldn't go put anything, from what I understand, they couldn't put anything under the No Limit name anymore because they had to bankrupt the company because of all the IRS trouble. So they came out under a new label that was called the New No Limit.
At the time you came in, it was what No Limit was it, like the New No Limit?
Yeah, New No Limit.
Chilling out here with the super producer, Black and Mild. You know he a genius, No Limit forever.
We had a group called Money Mafia. When I got up there, it was me, it was Black and Mild, and it was a guy named Young June from Pittsburgh. Cali Papa, he came through. Okay. Then he got Maine and Tech from Baton Rouge, and then he had a few artists from LA that he was dealing with, Eastwood. So he had different people, a few variety of people, and he started doing stuff with.
And so what happened to that? Because there was a lot of talent. That was right. There's a whole lot of realness in one bunch.
Nah, man, just life happened. Things was going on. You know what I'm saying? People was dealing with his situations at the time, so it was like a lot of stuff going on.
In 2002, Corey C. Murder Miller, Master P's younger brother, had gotten himself into deep waters with the law and was sinking quickly.
Okay, bad. Kane and Eva got in trouble with the Fed shit or whatever. You know, then Steady Mobbin came down. One of them came down with some weed from California. He got busted on the airplane with the weed. So he wrote them off the label, like kicked them off the label or whatever.
We parted our ways. Like I said, it wasn't no lie, it was a partnership. It wasn't no problems, like we just part our ways, you know what I'm saying? Not personally, like we cool, we talk, but business wise, it's like, I'm gonna go do this, you got this going on. Cause he couldn't really focus on music.
Every time we go to the studio or something, they just be like, man, you know, P not fucking with that right now. He started fucking with the sports shit, you know, the No Limit sports shit, you know, whatever, and nothing but athletes was around there.
When I got out, I had the opportunity to go on tour with the No Limit reunion tour, and that was fun. But I'll admit that I felt like a fish out of water. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if I was ready yet, because, you know, money could be a hell of a motivator when you don't have anything. You know what I mean? So when I first got out, it was like that opportunity came. I'm like, yo, I need to take this opportunity because I need to make me some money to take care of my family.
No Limit done a whole reunion without Full Blooded. I'm on everything from Down South Hustler to I Got the Hook Up to the TRU album to the C Murder, Life After Death album. You hear all these gold and platinum albums, man. I just know, like, when the tour went, shit, you was just talking about No Limit till I got hyped.
Okay, were you a part of the tour?
Fuck no, that's what I'm telling you, man. That's what I'm talking about.
No communication or nothing?
It wasn't nothing. I ain't getting nothing. I wouldn't even, like, I ain't nothing.
How's your P relationship today?
I don't know. I don't have no feelings. Like, like I said, I'm good. They broke bread, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I feel fucked up because my career ain't going nowhere, but I'm here. I ain't on no fucked up time. I don't know the energy.